Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to draw this two-dimensional drawing that has the length of each line and the angles of each line given in reference to one another, and you are going to figure out how to start the angle from the last line. For example, over here it starts with vertical line and the next line between that angle is 60 degrees. Over here, the reference angle is from horizontal line, and that means 0 degrees. And from there, it's 10 degrees counterclockwise. So there are points marked on this drawing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you will notice that this drawing is symmetrical. So if you can draw starting from 1 point and all the way to 6, if you don't know how to use mirror command, you can keep on drawing it the same way that we cover in here. But as long as you can draw half of this drawing, then in AutoCAD there is a tool, mirror command, that you can mirror it on the other side. So let's go to AutoCAD. One thing about AutoCAD is that by default, it will calculate the angle from 0. So if you type 45 degree, it will come in here. If you type any angle that is between 90 and 180, that will land here in the second quadrant, this being the first quadrant. And angle between 180 and 270 will be in third quadrant. And the angle that is between 270 and 360, that will go here. The other way to add angles are to go counterclockwise, and in that sense you will have to, in that case you will have to add negative signs to it. For example, there is an angle 300 degrees, so that can land over here. So you can type either 300 or you can type negative 60, because total over here is back to 360 degrees. So it's a negative 60 degrees or it's positive 300 degrees. So let's get started and you will understand how to do it. Start with your title block template that has these layers. Go to Mara Space and you're going to start the first point. We can start at 10, 10. That way it will be from the origin, it will be away and it will be in the first quadrant. Now you see that this is the origin and it's 10x in x-axis and 10 in y-axis. So now since we need to go to vertical and to keep the line straight, go ahead and turn your ortho on. The length of vertical line, as you know from previously, you add the length and the angle for vertical is 90. So if you don't want to type the angle, you can just hold that vertically, since that's very simple. And by default, it can go in horizontal and vertical direction when the ortho is on. So we don't need to type for 90 degree angle. So what we do is we can just type the length, and in typing the length, if we type without at, we can still get that same result. So we can type just plain distance, which is 6.186, enter. Now since I held it up, it went in upward direction, and the next angle is 60 degrees. And now I'm just going to turn the ortho off because it's somewhere 60 degrees from this. So now we are going to use the UCS. Over here, if you click on 3 point and click on the end at the end of this line, you bring down track on the line, the previous line. Now this is your x-axis, and y will be if I go left, y will go left if I put my cursor to the right, then it will go to the right, and we need that on the right. So click once over there and then type L for line. Click where you want to start the line, and now you want to add the length of the line. Now type add, length is 2, and you can press tab and then type the angle, and it's 60 degrees, and then press enter. And now as you can see, that is length 2 and the angle 60 from this vertical line. For next point, the angle is from horizontal line from 0. So we can either hover over it and then right click, or you can type UCS. Let's type UCS, enter, and then you will have your UCS, your X and Y axis attached to the cursor. So we're going to click over here, and this time we want X axis going to the right because that's where the angle starts. So click here, and then you want your Y in upward direction because that's where the angle is between. It's between X and Y. Now you can press L for line, click where you want to start the line and give the length of the line, which is at 2 again, and the angle for this one, press tab, angle is 10. Again type UCS. So UCS is attached to your cursor, click once here. This time the angle starts from the vertical, so you are going to go vertical first and your X will go vertical, and then you want your Y to the right, so click on the right direction. Now angle is between X and Y somewhere, and the angle is 110 degrees, and the length of line is 3. So type L, starting point of the line, at 3, tab for angle, and as you can recall, you can also press shift angle sign, or alternatively you can just press tab. Now 110 is the angle there. Next angle is between this line and the next line, 155 degrees. So press enter, type UCS, enter, click on this endpoint. This time we are going to track this line because the angle starts from here, and it's going to be between X and Y in this direction, so we are going to click on this side. Type L for line, click add 2, press tab, angled 155, press enter. Now you have created half of the drawing, and at this time it would be more efficient to mirror this on the other side. Now we want to put our UCS back to the original direction, and that was, so the UCS, the default direction was X was on the right and Y was up, so that's the default direction. Now we can use the mirror command, type MI for mirror, and select all the lines that you want to mirror, these 4 lines. Press enter, and then you need to click on the line of symmetry, and the line of symmetry is midpoint of this line, horizontally going straight. Not necessarily this point, it can be any point along the line of symmetry. So for example, it could be just here. And to make sure that it stays straight, you can have your ortho on, or since I have my tracking, so just click anywhere as long as it is straight. So now it's asking erase source objects. You want to say no, or you press enter. That will accept no. And there you have your complete drawing. Now go to title block, your paper space or layout, double click inside, and then zoom extend. Now let's give it an appropriate scale. One-to-one fits on the screen, but it doesn't leave room for any dimensions. Now this one is too small, so I'm going to create an in-between scale. So click on custom and then click on add. Name appearing in scale should be 1 to 1.5. Paper units 1, drawing units 1.5, and then click OK. OK here. And now just let's go and select that scale. Okay, so this is 1 to 1 point ratio. Now you can unlock the viewport so that if you zoom, it doesn't go out of scale. Double click outside of the viewport and go to your dimension layer. And over here, you can add the linear dimension. Now I see this is a whole number, and this is just rounding it up or rounding it down. In this case, rounding down. All the other numbers are whole numbers except for this one. So in this case, we are going to right click on it and change the precision locally, because this one has 3 decimals, but all the rest are just whole numbers. So we are not going to do that globally. Aligned dimension for this angular one, which was a whole number. And again, I'm going to add on this direction so it's not crowded with the next one. And then this was 3. And the last one was 2. Now let's add the angles. Click on this arrow and click on angular. Click on this line, and it's going to give you angle in between those two. Now the next angle, and here it is. Now this one was from horizontal and this one was from vertical. So double click inside the viewport, and by that you're jumping into the model space. So go on center layer and draw a line. Go to layers and go to construction layer. And I'm just using a structure layer for a reference, because there is a line that I need to have to give this angle from horizontal direction, and from this one vertical direction. So now you're going to double click outside of the model space, outside of the viewport, anywhere. You can just double click. And now you are in the paper space or you are in the layout itself. Go back to dimension layer and add the angles now. So angle from this vertical line and this angular line, and the angle between the horizontal line. Degrees. And considering that it is symmetrical, we don't need to add angles on the other side. So after that, just update the title block. One to 1.5 ratio, backspace as needed. And don't forget to update the date. Now go ahead and plot to PDF. And now you don't see the window for the viewport window, you don't see because that was on def points layer. So that's the whole purpose of it. Click OK, and it's going to create a PDF. And that would be all. Your turn. Happy drawing.